Well, video captured two people street racing in Beverly Hills over the weekend.
But police and the State Department are investigating whether they can do anything about it. You can see this Porsche and Ferrari speeding down residential streets with children nearby. One of the drivers, who is apparently from Qatar, told a reporter that he had diplomatic immunity. So that had John from Hopkins wanting to know, what is diplomatic immunity? Good question. Here's Heather Brown.
If a foreign diplomat commits a crime in the U.S.,
he indicated that he could kill me and get away with it.
He or she cannot be arrested, detained, or even handcuffed.
I was one once. I had a diplomatic passport.
Fred Morrison teaches international law at the U.
So I assumed you behaved yourself, though.
I behaved myself, yes.
Diplomatic immunity is based on a 1961 international treaty to which, for the most part, all countries abide.
Why do we have diplomatic immunity?
Because diplomats sometimes go to friendly countries and sometimes they go to very unfriendly countries.
We also want our diplomats to have immunity in other countries.
So we have to give to get.
Right.
And the concern has always been, and this goes back to the ancient Greeks, that the diplomat will be punished not for his own acts, but for the attitude of his country.
When you're endangering our lives, then that's wrong.
So the only way to protect against that is to say you cannot punish him.
In very serious but rare cases, a host country can kick a diplomat out, or a sending country can take immunity away.
The country can simply say, we disclaim you.
In 1997, the Republic of Georgia waived immunity when one of its diplomats killed a Maryland teenager in a drunk driving accident.
Some aspects of this case are far larger than me.
He was sentenced in the U.S. to 7 years in prison.
You can't come over here and kill somebody, and just because you're a diplomat, you can go back home and be free. No.
Now, there are 100,000 or so representatives of foreign governments in the U.S., and they all have different levels of immunity. The diplomats and their families have the highest level, total immunity. Administrative staff, they don't have as much civil protection. And the service staff, like drivers, they have some, but it's very limited immunity. Now, what could be interesting in the street racing case is if these guys turned out to be consular officials and not diplomatic, they may not have any immunity at all, even though they think they might.
Well, I think most people hope they don't.
Right.
You know, doing that around kids.
The professor said he would think those guys are probably already on a plane ride home.
Oh, they're not even in the country anymore.
That's his guess, is probably what had happened.
Interesting. All right, thanks, Heather.
Hey, if you have a good question for Heather, please email it by going to WCCO.com/links.